So I have a little bit of a different video for you guys today. I reference this thing in all of my other videos pretty much. It is my physical reading journal. I thought we could flip through it together and I could show you what I've been reading and how I've been journaling it. Let's just jump into it. I'm going to zoom you guys in a little bit. So first off, this is not like an expensive journal or anything. It's my first time ever keeping a reading journal and I wasn't sure that I would like doing it. Spoiler alert, I really like doing it. So I just got this off Amazon. It's kind of a little faux leather black journal. It has this rubber band to help keep it closed, which I really liked, was important to me to have because I tend to throw this thing in my bag without caution. A pen loop, which I don't use, but I like having the option to use, and a couple of bookmarks, which I do use pretty often also. All right, so opening up to the front page here, I'm going to cover, I put my real name in there, but this is the motif that I went with. Let me zoom in a little bit more. Basically, I just wanted to do some simple black and white pencil sketches of plants and florals. As you can see, I really like plants. I keep them all around my house and around my desk. I put these on a little stack of books with some theme words on it like love and adventure and laughter. I don't know, I thought it was a cute idea. So opening up to our first double page spread, obviously this is my title page that has the year wrapped in a little flower motif, and it says reading journal. I did have to end up gluing two pages together to make this spread because this page was all kind of mis-sewn and opened or didn't open in a really weird way, so this did have to be glued, but I'm really happy that I did. I like having it really flat and run across both pages. So the title contents page was one of the most important pages to me that I was really looking forward to doing, and is something that I use the most out of everything in here. I ended up having to redraw this page several times because I just couldn't figure out what I wanted to put, but I really like having this branch that crosses the little like center line right here. Can you tell I'm not an artist? But I thought it made it feel more like organic and like natural and like it's growing. So I put this little leaf border around it, and in the hanging sign is where I have the dates that I started the reading journal and where I will put the date that I finish it. Moving right along, this page, if I'm being totally honest, was the whole reason that I wanted to keep a reading journal. I was just scrolling YouTube, as one does, and I was watching people make reading journals, and I saw a bunch of people had this draw your own library page, and I absolutely fell in love with it, and I was so excited, and I just had to draw one for myself, so I started this whole reading journal adventure. If you're not familiar, basically the idea is at the beginning of the year, you draw these bookshelves, and you have all your books left blank, and then you fill them in with the titles of the things that you're reading as you read them throughout the year. This is by far the page I'm always the most excited to work on. I was also able to draw, I think, some okay looking plants that I don't know, thought were interesting. Um, I also put a little fish tank because I was obsessed with fish tanks for a really long time, and I ended up erasing and redrawing this window a lot because it was really hard for me to get right, but I kind of like it. I like how it ended up. I like the little candles, and yeah, I don't know, it's so fun to me to make and curate this little space that is all the things that you like. And yeah, it was great. It was just like setting up your own library, but in a really cool way where you can reference it and have it in your pocket all the time. And then if we turn the page here, we have my reading goals page. Now, this was me trying to be creative. I ended up pasting in a little envelope so you can have an interactive element. And in here is this kind of yellowy high cotton, I don't know if you can tell, has a lot of texture to it paper that I actually got from a random thrift store in the stationery section. Sharing my goals feels a little vulnerable, but we're all friends here, right? They're not the most ambitious, perhaps, but I just wanted to read different genres. I put intentionally read in my genre because at the time that I started this, I was trying to write a romantic suspense novel, and so I really wanted to study that genre a little bit more. I also wanted to intentionally read some more current releases. If you've seen in my other videos, you know that I have a real problem with thrifting old books, and I wanted to read some more stuff that like other people were reading within the last decade. I also wanted to just be able to answer and talk a little more competently about what my favorite books are and keep track of my like reading data, because sometimes people ask and I always feel like I'm like, oh, I don't know, I don't know what I like, and like this will tell me what I like and where my interests are and hopefully help me to enjoy my hobby even more. So again, not the most ambitious goal list, but I was really happy with it. Let me just slide this back in. As you can tell, I continue the plant motif all around here as well. And that brings us to my reading list page. Sorry if there's some like glue bubbling from where I did that. I will say when I started the journal, I was using just like regular craft glue, and then I switched to the actual like journaling tape glue where you like roll it across the page, and I cannot recommend it enough. It is definitely worth it. Go for the journaling tape. But anyway, this is just where I wrote in chronological order that I read them by month, everything that I've read this year. And so this is really just kind of a fun, easy thing to reference that I don't have to overthink. I was sort of running out of ideas by the time I got to this page already, so this is supposed to be a string of dried flowers hanging. I don't know if that's how it comes across, but that's what it was supposed to be. I left myself a lot of ambitious room also in case I decide to just read a couple hundred books this year. I like that I believe in me, you know? Somebody's got to. Oh, that brings us to book bingo, another one of my absolute favorite pages in this journal. I also got this idea from looking at like a bunch of different people on YouTube who are super smart and creative. Basically, the idea is that you draw your own bingo card with things that you think you could read this year. So, like a book over 600 pages, a time travel book, a book with a green cover, and then as you read them, you cross off one square per book, and you're trying to get 5 in a row to get bingo. But that also feels a little easy for me, so I'm wondering if maybe I need to cross off every square on my bingo card before I can get a prize. I don't know, but I'm making the rules here, you know? So over here is the page where you can flip it up, another interactive page. I'm really just a large child who wants like an interactive book, if I'm being honest. But the prize that I hung out in front of myself as motivation is to treat myself to a signed copy or special edition of my favorite book, or to maybe make one. Obviously, I'm not like a professional bookbinder or anything, but my husband dabbles a little bit and has bound me a journal in the past. So that's something he could help me with if I end up winning book bingo, and if that's something that I decide I would like to treat myself with, which is really exciting. And obviously we have a little bit of flowers and grass down here. So our next page is kind of another bookshelf spread, but this time without books already in it. I just thought this was really cute. This is supposed to be a little like reading bench, reading nook with a little cutout in the wall to put your coffee cup, obviously. And it's right under this cool little round window where I can imagine a really nice blue sunny day. And of course, a couple of plants in the bookshelves, obviously. This I thought could just be kind of a multi-use, multi-purpose page. I don't know if I want to put like my favorite books of the year on these shelves, or if I want to put like books that I DNF'd on the shelves, or one of each. Or maybe if I somehow fill up that giant library page and I have some overflow, I can put them on these shelves. Either way, I just wanted to give myself a little bit of wiggle room. And if I'm being honest, I just love drawing these little cute, cozy spaces where I can imagine myself escaping and relaxing and reading books. Ooh, and then the opposite of relaxing, this is my cage match page. I'm calling it cage match, but it is basically just like a March Madness bracket. This is where I basically write my favorite book at the end of every month that I've read that month, and then I make them compete for no real reason so that I can find my absolute favorite book of 2026. Why is this important to me? I don't know. I just thought it was a really fun thing to do, and it makes me think really critically about what I really enjoy, which is cool. Again, totally out of ideas by this page, so we just have some grass, but that is my cage match page, which I'm super excited to see how that goes. That brings us to a needlessly stressful page for me, which is my favorites page. I don't know why I feel so embarrassed when people ask me what my favorite book is, and I just way overthink it. But anyway, my 2026 favorites, I think I'm going to wait till the end of the year and then kind of use my cage match page to help me fill this out. Because sometimes you like books more or less the longer you sit on them, you know? Anyway, this was my all-time favorites page. Obviously, I'm going to try and not make this too long-winded. Basically, I was just really trying to think of things that had been my favorite at some point throughout my entire life. So like these, obviously, The Immortals Quartet, if I'm being honest, still to this day is one of my all-time favorite series that I still pick up and read like once a year. But this is more of a young reader thing. This is something I like started reading when I was in elementary school, but it is all on my favorites page. Now, The More I See You by Lynn Kurland is another really old book, but it was so like formative to me and how I understood genre of romance, and also just like really informed me of the kind of characters that I like and wanted to create. So it was important to me to include that. Amanda Quick's Desire, I think, is honestly underrated. I really like the relationship dynamic. I think it's not one that's commonly used anymore, but it really makes me laugh. I like it. Prince Charming by Julie Carwood, I couldn't even tell you why it's my favorite. I just really enjoy it. Now, Kiss an Angel by Susan Elizabeth Phillips and Elizabeth Lowell's Only series, both of these ended up being sort of spicy and sort of problematic as I look back on my time with them. But at some point in my life, I really enjoyed them for what they were, and they brought me a little bit of entertainment and happiness, so I did want to include them. I don't know what the name of this series is. It's One Dance with a Duke, Twice Tempted by a Rogue, and Three Nights with a Scoundrel by Tessa Dare. Also pretty spicy and not necessarily something I, at this point in my life, go back and read a lot, but was a really good time when I read it. Some honorable mentions I didn't have space for were the Cotton Bloom series by Trentham, Animal Magnetism series by Shalvis. I don't know what it is about Jill Shalvis. Every time I pick up a book of hers, I just have a really good time, even though no single one of her books is per se my favorite book. Also, Whirlwind, which is the first book in the Welcome to Tyler series by Martin, is something that I found randomly in a free library several years ago, and I really, really enjoyed it. If you're not aware, the Welcome to Tyler series, again, super old and obscure, but it was a series where every book is written by a different author, which was popular at the time. So I don't know, it's just like really cool. I thought it was a really fun concept. So that's how I got on my all-time favorites page. Moving right along, we have my series tracker page. Now, if I'm being super honest, this is not my favorite spread in the journal. Series tracking just isn't super important to me personally. Again, I thrift a lot of books, so I'm reading a lot of things out of order, and I wasn't really sure how I wanted to do this. I didn't want to just rewrite the titles again, so I ended up with this weird system of squares where I just check things off. It does serve a purpose in that it gives me a quick overview of what book I'm on and how many there are, so I do like it for that reason. But again, it's just not something that really excites me. It's not one of my pages that I use the most. Now, these are my monthly wrap-up pages. Again, not super exciting maybe, but this is where I can put all together the amount of books I read in the month, the amount of pages I read in the month, the genres that I've read, the average rating that I gave the books that month, as well as notes about like what I liked and what I didn't like and what I want to do better next month. I was pretty proud of my idea for this because I was so empty for ideas for floral motifs. So even though it's not like the prettiest thing to look at, these branches are supposed to be like naked winter branches, and then they turn into leaves when we get into spring months, and then flowers for summer, and then they just kind of go back to leaves and back to winter branches. So I don't know, I think it was a cute idea. And now we're at my year totals page, and this is where I will take the information from all my monthly wrap-up pages, and I'll put them all together here to give me the best overview of data for what I've been reading and doing this year. Which means we are at my last section for right now in my reading journal, which is my book rating pages. Now, I reference these a lot, and these are what I use when I'm kind of making my videos talking about things that I've read. I will say as a disclaimer, I've said this many times, these are my first knee-jerk reactions, so when I'm still emotional and I've just finished the book and I freshly put it down, these are the first thoughts and feelings I have. So sometimes they're a little bit rude, so don't mind any of that. But I also include all the information at a glance for the book, and I print out these tiny versions of the covers, which honestly, I cannot recommend enough. It is so much fun to have and to print out these teeny tiny little book covers. I don't know why, it just brings me so much happiness. But yeah, these are pretty much in chronological order as well. This is another place where I can glance and know everything about the book, as well as what I rated it and what I thought of it. I'm also really honest in here when I do not finish a book, and I don't rate it if I don't finish it, obviously. But yeah, it's just a really fun thing to have. It's a really nice, I don't know, resource. I don't know what else to say about it. It's just like, it's been so much fun, and I've really enjoyed it, and I can't recommend it enough. That pretty much brings us to the end, where I can sometimes print out early books that I know I'm going to read or I'm excited to read, and they're just there waiting for me, so that as soon as I'm done, I can just slap them down and start writing about them. So that is really exciting and motivating for me to get reading. And that, friends, brings us to the end of where I'm at in my reading journal right now. I have the rest of these gloriously blank pages to look forward to. It is July right now, so about halfway through the year. I'm pretty happy with the progress. I may not end up using all the pages, but that's okay. We'll see how much I can fit in to read this year. So yeah, what do you guys think of my really simple black and white reading journal? Honestly, I ended up enjoying keeping a reading journal way more than I thought I would. I thought it would kind of be a pain and slow me down, but it's just almost like having a friend to talk about books with right when you finish reading in the middle of the night, and like, I don't know, it's just really great. I took inspiration from a whole bunch of different YouTubers and people on social media that I saw, and I hope that maybe you guys can take some inspiration from this. If you do, and if you're keeping your own reading journal, please like tell me about it or show it to me or tag me or something so I can continue to like have inspiration and grow my reading journal. Now, hopefully I can come back at the end of the year and give you guys an update when I finish this and have the whole thing filled out and beautiful. And yeah, if that's something that you're interested in or want to see, then please like and subscribe and check back on my channel to catch that later. Otherwise, I had a great time talking to you guys about books and reading journals, my favorite thing to do in the entire world. I hope that you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you next week with a new video. Bye, guys!